5,000 Division I games have been played, one to go, and college basketball's biggest night is underway.
Pretty good block out by Dorsey right away on that tap.
Rose with Robinson, the one on him. It's in the paint with Dorsey, who did not score Saturday, but does right out of the box here on Monday night.
Pretty good power move there, Jim. Backed him right on down. And remember last year, when Memphis was eliminated right here on this court by Ohio State, Dorsey had all kinds of problems with Odin. Pretty good start for him.
To think that on Saturday he had 15 rebounds and not a single point, comes right out in the first seconds and scores. Here's Arthur trying to match the basket, and that's short. Anderson there to bring it down for Memphis.
Anderson is kind of the quiet hero on this team, and there goes that penetration. Great job.
Robinson cutting off the alley and knocking the pass out of bounds.
Now Robinson, like everybody else, is giving up size, but athletically he's about as close as anybody so far that's been guarding Rose in this three-game stretch that Rose has just controlled everything from the backcourt.
It's interesting, they've got Rush on Douglas Roberts, and there's a steal by Chalmers. Rush up ahead. Whoa, and a foul call, and Rush hits the deck.
Hey, Anderson got back there, but we see already the terrific ability to steal the ball in the open court. All he could do was go up and jam it. A lot of guts.
He got undercut right on the shoulder of Anderson, who has whistled for that. So Rush, outstanding on Saturday, misses the first free throw.
Jim, that was Chalmers' 94 steal on the year. Last year he set a new record at Kansas with 97, breaking the great Darnell Valentine's previous record. But he has such tremendous anticipation. You've got to be careful when you throw that ball cross court.
He's had at least 2 steals in his last 13 games, and already with one tonight. Almost were able to make a theft off of Rose. Anderson left alone, that spins out, and Arthur jumps over to pick up the board.
Well, Kansas really pushing this ball up the floor.
Chalmers takes baseline, kicks it back out. Oh, and it's saved off the foot of the official, but into the arms of Douglas Roberts. Roberts weaving and putting it up for 2.
Jim, he almost turned that ball over 3 times from half court on down, but kept control. It's amazing how he can weave his way through traffic.
That pass gets away from Robinson to Chalmers, and it's a turnover by Kansas.
Jim, what's interesting about these two teams, they average almost exactly the same, 80 points a game, and they hold opponents right to 61 a game. So you can see this pace is on board to be an 80-point game.
Douglas Roberts now puts up the long shot.
And Rush got right in his face.
Ball tipped over and back to Kansas. Robinson hops over Dorsey. Kicks it ahead to Chalmers.
That's 3 times now that Kansas intercepted or interrupted some kind of pass.
Over the top, Arthur knocks it down with force.
You think the University of North Carolina remembers that play?
Boy, that's what they opened the game with against
Absolutely.
Carolina, and they kept going to it.
Right over the top, Arthur getting very good position, keeping his balance before he makes his move, so he gets that distance he needs to put it away.
When they went back to that strategy in the second half, they ended the Carolina hopes. There's Dozier, left open for the jumper, and he hits it.
And there's what you love about Rose. He penetrates, but he sees the whole floor and makes a play.
Chalmers back out. Robinson quickly over Jackson, 2.
We're going to give him that shot.
Rose and a reach in on Chalmers. Billy, these numbers you were talking about statistically, amazing to see how much they line up on the whole season. Look at these averages.
It is absolutely amazing. Now, I realize that the Big 12 was tougher than Conference USA, Jim, but Memphis played an outstanding out-of-conference schedule, so those numbers are almost amazing for 2 teams of this magnitude. Separated
by only fractions on the season. And will that be the case tonight? Will we have a tight one here in Texas? That's Rose taking his first shot at the 3, rattles out.
You see Robinson is trying to force him to go left, taking away that right side completely.
Rush lost the handle, and Douglas Roberts on the floor. Rush right back, squeezing it out. And that's last touch by Kansas. It belongs to Memphis.
What you want to see early in the game, everybody going on the floor for loose balls. Look at that. Douglas Roberts sticking his nose right in there.
Good thing Dozier didn't touch it, so the Tigers take advantage of a second Kansas turnover, and they bring in Alexander Khan, known as Sasha Khan, the senior, inside for Kansas.
Now here's what I expected. If you're going to bring in Collins, who is he going to guard? And you see what he does? He goes over on Anderson. So they're going to say, Anderson, show me you can be a 25-point-per-game scorer.
Rose, a whistle, and a basket.
Now here's why this kid is so tough. What Robinson has done is said, I'm going to force you to go one way and one way only, and that's left. What does Rose do? He puts it down on the floor, pulls up, and takes the short jumper.
So Robinson whistled for that. Rose with a three-point chance.
And Jim, I'm going to say statistically, the only thing about Kansas and really trying to go through them is in their 3 losses this year, they were 12 for 45 from 3. That's only 26%. Against those same teams in the wins, they were 26 for 48, which is 54%. So three-point shooting is critical for Kansas.
Kansas down early, 9-3. Couple of turnovers, only 1 field goal. That a dunk by Arthur.
And because of Anderson's ability to be so rangy, he's on Collins. Let's see if they give Collins the ball more.
It's Arthur, and he's pushed.
Arthur is a much more gifted offensive player than many people give him credit for. He really set the stage in the North Carolina game on Saturday with nice soft touches, and there he puts the ball on the floor.
Taggart in, super 6th man for the Tigers, as Dozier, who picks up the foul, goes to the bench.
Opportunity for a double team in the corner.
Hey, Douglas Roberts has been all over Rush.
Yep. Well, that's a great matchup, size-wise, ability-wise. Collins almost carried down on his shoulder, and there's that long arm again of Anderson.
He fights back for it, and a tie-up call. The arrow belongs to the Jayhawks. As Sharon Collins talking about great subs. He gave him 11 points Saturday in the win over North Carolina. So you got a little Chicago action out there with Derrick Rose, Sharon Collins.
Well, imagine how many times they probably went head-to-head on the playgrounds, huh?
Yep.
Just another game, playing a little bigger venue. Nice block by Dorsey.
Tipped over, though, to Arthur. Tipped up, and Rush was the one who tapped it in. After Dorsey had a block on the 3 of Rush, Kansas kept it alive, and Rush came back into the lane and got the 2.
Again, watch this. There, he does not want him to go right.
Taggart hit this shot Saturday, not this time. Dorsey touched it last. It'll belong to Kansas out of the first break. 9-5 beginning here for the Tigers of Memphis. Jim Nance and Billy Packer here in San Antonio. Most combined wins ever in a championship matchup. And this just bursting with energy here. Packed house, of course, in San Antonio. What a great sight. What a great host city. So fans have enjoyed a spectacular weekend along the Riverwalk here of San Antonio.
I think Collins ought to go ahead. There's the back screen.
Oh, perfectly done by Collins to Khan. You saw it coming, Billy.
Yes, it was. It was a back screen set up. Now, you're going to have Rose playing on Collins. They know each other extremely well. I think we're going to see Collins put the ball on the floor and make Rose have to play some defense when they go down the other way.
It's Dorsey backing in on Khan, and that was last touch by Khan.
Surprisingly, you see the back screen there, a terrific job. Khan, who has played outstanding basketball, Jim. It's amazing how Bill Self has pulled his big men off the bench. Against Davidson, he was 6 for 6, 13 points, 6 rebounds.
Really starting that regional final win, the nail-biter over Davidson. Here's Rose over Collins, the all-Chicago matchup. The shot is long. Here comes Kansas.
Rose looked over to John Calipari and tapped his chest. I don't know if that was a signal that was his mistake missing the shot or he wants out.
Arthur ties the game at 9.
Nice job to see Kansas going inside, forcing Memphis big guys to have to play. A little double team by Khan. Experienced player out there, Jim.
Khan out there right now for Jackson. Again, it's Douglas Robertson, Rush matched up.
And looked like a little zone defense played by Kansas, and great hands on the inside.
Well, that was it, really forced by Collins, who reached around and tapped it away. Kansas can take its first lead.
As a 1-2-2 zone, unless nobody from Memphis was cutting through to make a move.
Arthur puts up the jumper this time. No, he has 6 of their 9. Would have given them the lead if he made that.
Looks like Wes Roberts with a good defensive rebound there, using his length.
And double team by Rush and Arthur. Foul goes on Arthur. His first. Here's a look at Rose in the early action.
Well, try to reach in. He's so good at dribbling that ball with and using his chest to keep a defender off, as he did right there over Robinson, an outstanding defender.
Rose has made 1 out of 3 from the field. Had that three-point play. And now Douglas Roberts, who has lived at the line in this NCAA tournament. He shot 54 free throws through the first 5 tournament games.
Jim, listen to this, 113, now 114 of 162, shooting 71% from the foul line in postseason play is Memphis. And remember, there was a point in time this year of more than 350 teams. They were down at 347 in free throw shooting.
They were 2 from the bottom.
Yep.
But Douglas Roberts has had the bulk of the time at the line, and he hits 2 more. Jackson's back on the floor for Kansas, and we see Willie Kemp for the first time, number 1 in the lineup for the Tigers.
If I'm Collins, I make Rose really work on defense. Keep the ball in your hands a little longer. There he goes.
Collins past Rose. What a move.
That's a very, very good move by Kansas, because now Rose has got to play both ends of the floor, and Collins is strong enough to take him. That was a dangerous pass.
Not as tall, but he's certainly got that upper body strength.
Yeah, he'll have problems on the defensive end, but on the offensive end, and here's one of those
awkward shots. Unconventional, but it always drops.
Right.
Douglas Roberts.
You know, that's almost a non-defensible shot, because you don't even know he's going to put it up, and he's throwing it from his hip.
Chalmers. Back to the rim, tipped around to Dozier, who's returned.
Good block out by Dozier on Jackson.
Head ahead, Douglas Roberts. Jackson, Taggart's all over him. It's going to go against Memphis. Near the end of this game, we'll select a Chevrolet player of the game from each team to honor their determination and outstanding play. Chevrolet will make a $1,000 contribution to each school's general scholarship fund. Chevy, an American Revolution. So they take Rush out and Robinson returns. So Taggart picks up his first. And it's 13-11 Memphis.
Well, Collins had missed 6 games with that stress fracture this year. Now he's back and healthy, so they've got a great rotation in the backcourt. And of course, they use that 4-headed monster in the front court, so they cannot get in foul trouble, Kansas. Here he goes again.
Lobs it. And that was intended for Kahn. Off his fingertips, no. Eddie Hightower says Memphis got a fingertip on it last.
Jim, no back screen on that particular play, just figuring that Kahn could go up there and handle, but Dozier's got good length himself.
11 seconds on the shot clock. Both teams shooting 46%. It's Kemp manning up on Chalmers, and a whistle away from the ball, and it's going on Taggart, and that's his second. Picks up 2 quick ones.
Not a good idea by Taggart. You're going to find a situation that Kahn is not going to be looking for low post plays, so why commit a cheap foul inside that hurts your club?
Taggart has to be taken out, and Dorsey's right back out there.
So Memphis can get in foul trouble. Kansas almost cannot. You remember the other night, Dorsey and Taggart both had 3 fouls on them, Jim. They changed the complexion of the game a little bit.
We still haven't even seen Cole Aldrich, the freshman who started for Kansas on Saturday. That's Jackson, and he's headed to the line. This could be on Dozier, and it is. That's 2 on Dozier.
Great job by Kansas utilizing their inside game. We may have to see Memphis do a little bit of zone defending here, because Kansas really taking advantage of them inside.
And there's Cole Aldrich. What a statistical line he had. After Kahn picked up a couple of early fouls, he was in there for that long, successful run by Kansas to put him up 28, 40-12 on North Carolina in the first half. Ended up with 8 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 blocks.
And Jim, not only did he have those points, they came at critical times, and he really had them against Hansbrough. You know, it was really head-to-head against the best that North Carolina had, so it wasn't like, oh, let's put some stats on the board. They were real points and real blocks.
Darnell Jackson hits 2 free throws to knot the game at 13.
Now Collins on Rose. Rose has got to shoot over the top of him as he penetrates.
Dozier still on the floor with 2 fouls. That shot bounces out, tipped over to Jackson. Again, Kansas will make its attempt here at the first lead of the night. Kahn doubled up. Pick set by Kahn. Here's Collins. Wrap-around pass. And hold on. It's going to be a traveling call. No basket. We've had 3 ties in the game. Douglas Roberts has 6 points. That's tops for Memphis. Memphis has not trailed, had a big lead of 6. We're in the midst of our 3rd tie. Not a single 3 has been dropped in this game. Roderick Stewart, who was in the rotation for the Jayhawks, the senior, who fractured a knee here on this floor Friday during the shoot-around, going up for a dunk at the end of the shoot-around. Fractured kneecap, and he's in uniform tonight, Billy, unlike on Saturday. He wanted to come out dressed tonight for the occasion. No chance of playing. Faces surgery when they get back home to Lawrence.
Well, this game is about what you'd expect in terms of evenness. And the outside shooting in regard to 3 points, neither team's got a 3-point shot. Obviously, something has to give there. And I pointed out, when Kansas does lose ball games, they have a hard time from 3.
Taggart's back in there. Again, he has 2 fouls. Working on Darnell Jackson. Turnaround shot. Too strong. Big-time rebound. Pulled down by Brandon Rush. Up ahead, the pass whipped. Tapped out of bounds by Taggart.
Boy, Taggart got there after a long run down court, but that could have been that 3rd foul, Jim, and there's a lot of difference between Memphis and Kansas if either Taggart or Dorsey get in further foul trouble, because they have nowhere to go.
And Dozier has 2.
Right. Nice fake.
Good head fake rush, and it pays off. Kansas with its first lead of the night.
Chris Douglas Roberts saying that guy is a mirror image of me. It was exactly what he normally does to his defender. I can't believe Rose has given up the ball this quickly and not challenging Collins more with the dribble.
Collins has given him trouble since coming in.
Yep.
Douglas Roberts wants to answer back on Rush. They work it to the paint, a whistle. Before the shot, they're calling it on Collins for reaching in. Kansas is on a 12-4 run right now. For college sports, 24 hours a day, watch the CBS College Sports Network, the new pulse of college sports. And to find out how to get all the action, go to cbssports.com/getcollegesports. So that's the first on Collins, and Arthur on the floor now for the Jayhawks. Chalmers hits the deck.
That brings Robinson back in on Rose.
Taggart, wild shot, tipped out by Arthur, stays with Memphis.
For some reason, unlike the 3 games that we've had them, Jim, Rose has not had the ball that much in his hands. And I think if Memphis is at their best, he starts everything from the top of the key.
Let's see what he does now with Robinson back on him. Collins taken out of the game. Memphis has missed his last 4 shots. Now he took advantage of that matchup earlier, gives it up to Taggart. Taggart with Arthur, a good shot blocker. Influenced the shot. Long rebound out to Robinson.
Nice cutoff dribble by Robinson to take the defender away from him.
Darnell Jackson, can he get the 3rd on Taggart? No, kicks it out instead. 3-point shot, yes! Chalmers of Kansas.
Very important for this team. As I pointed out, when they make threes, they are tough to beat. They're doing a much better job than is Memphis, distributing the ball inside out.
It's a 7-0 run for the Jayhawks as Rose had the open look. And that's going to be Dorsey over the back. This first.
Really good distribution by Kansas in this game so far. And Rush is really causing some problems for Chris Douglas Roberts on both ends of the floor. Jim, when you look at those 2 guys, Rush has got him by about an inch. So this is the first time he's had to face a guy of equal physical ability.
Aldrich is in for the first time. Again, he blocked 4 shots of North Carolina's. Dozier's back out with 2 fouls. You also saw number 20, Mack, for the first time for Memphis. He's an outside shooter. Led them and made 3s on the year. Aldrich is the intended target. Dorsey takes it away. No one's going to mess with that one.
Big man's got some speed, doesn't he?
Boy, I tell you, the way he read that pass and then took off.
Well, he was lucky he didn't have to have one more dribble because it might have gotten away from him, but he showed some quickness.
Broke a 3-minute and 40-second drought for the Tigers. That intended for Aldrich, and Rose comes down to make the steal. Chalmers right back, his second steal of the night. Lays it up with the left hand.
Well, Rose will have to learn. Chalmers has great quick hands, and there he makes a move on him. But in traffic, Robinson and Chalmers as good as you want to see stealing that ball off the dribble.
Anderson driving, and it's Chalmers who got a hand in there. And last touch by Kansas. Was this a little intimidation here?
Well,
just an accidental bump.
I think it was an accidental bump at first, and then he gave him a little lingo and kept right on looking. The fact that he didn't stir him in the eye, he let the referees let it go.
Dorsey goes
that was
out.
A huge steal, though, Jim, because the momentum had really gone in the other direction.
Saw that exact same kind of action on a dunk when he dunked on Michigan State and turned around into the face of Neitzel back in Houston. There's a foul on Robinson. By the way, Pierre Niles has come out there for Memphis, but Dorsey's sitting down. That's 2 on Robinson.
Niles' job is to come in this ball game, Jim, and steal a couple of minutes. Unlike in the case of the Kansas big men coming in, they not only can steal minutes, they can put some points on the board. Niles' job to steal minutes, make sure nobody else of size gets in foul trouble.
310 pounds of space in there for Memphis as Mack takes the shot, and it's wide of the mark.
Has not been a factor in the tournament so far.
Lob to Arthur, beautifully laid on the rim by Rush. And Memphis now has its biggest deficit of the entire tournament. Down 7.
And Collins back in the game. Let's see if Rose takes him and tries to get a mid-range jump shot off. Just not looking for his shot tonight. There it is.
Kicks it out on the wing. Anderson with a 3. Yes. Chalmers tried to race over in time to put a hand in his face to no avail. Takes off at the other end. Ball squirts out, puts it back up and in. Chalmers got hit in the face, no call, but he got the basket.
That was a good piece of officiating there. Dozier was trying to draw the charge when he didn't get it. Set up the easy putback.
Dozier with a 3, so 2 quick threes by Memphis.
And created by Rose keeping the ball in his hands and making the dish. Everything has to start off at his dribble.
3 by Anderson. And then the 3 right back at the other end by Dozier. Arthur dribbling in. Call it a travel. Kansas shooting 63% with the lead by 3. Quite a sight in the stands here, Billy. Roy Williams, the former Jayhawk coach, who lost his old team on Saturday. He's got a Kansas sticker on his shirt here today.
Yeah, there's so many connections between North Carolina and Kansas. Larry Brown, Roy Williams, and Frank McGuire, the only coaches to take 2 different teams to the championship game. Who did Frank McGuire beat? Kansas in triple overtime. Who did Larry Brown coach? Kansas for a win for a national championship. So it is amazing the connection between those 2 schools, and I guess most of it started with Dean Smith, who went to Kansas and played on the national championship team.
What a shot by Douglas Roberts, and Memphis is back within 1.
This battle between Rush and Roberts is really fun to watch. They really match up so well with each other on both ends.
It's amazing to see how Douglas Roberts is able to get a shot. Chalmers hesitated for a minute, now goes back out to Collins.
Nice job by Anderson to recover. Roberts prevented Collins from making that drive. Let's see if he does the same thing.
Back to Kahn, and Dorsey kicks it out. Outlet pass, Anderson. Flying through the lane, shot wild, Rose. Snaps it back out, Douglas Roberts for the lead, right back. Memphis in front by 2.
There's Rose showing the size that he has and the presence of mind not to panic on that baseline. All started with Dorsey's block. He took away an easy 2 for Kansas.
An 11-2 run for the Tigers. 7 down to 2 in front. Collins, floater.
He was actually looking to make the lob pass. And what happened is all the Memphis big men stepped back. So, again, great presence of mind. Strong young player takes it up.
Adjusting in midair.
He really did, Jim. He adjusted, figuring he was going to pass.
Dozier gets close enough for the short flip.
He'd like to have that one back. Dorsey looks at the referee, puts his team at a disadvantage here.
Chalmers, open, Arthur, gives it up last second. Collins, high, Arthur 3, tipped out by Rush. And saved by Chalmers.
I think Rush went over the back on that play.
Yeah, he did, and Kahn, though, gets the pass and the dunk.
That's a tough break for Memphis right there because I thought Rush went over Dorsey's back. But you can't wait on referees' calls if you're a player. By the time you're turning around and looking, the other team is going to take advantage.
5 minutes to go in a thrilling first half. Memphis had an early 6-point lead. Now back in front by 1.
Kahn, when he gets screened like that, he better go out and pick him up right away.
Douglas Roberts has 13.
He doesn't need much room, Jim, to take that jump shot. The problem is if a big man goes out to try to trap him, he'll go ahead and snake his way to the basket.
So that shot tied the game at 28. Now here's Collins. Ball squirts out.
Behind the back. It's not pretty, but it is effective.
Now, Dozier. Douglas Roberts hitting those shots from the outside. That last shot was a 2, not a 3. And it's last touched by Kansas.
Jim, we got 4:09 to go, and I tell you, there's some tired guys on the floor right now, particularly Dorsey. Taggart's going to come in for him. Chris Douglas Roberts is a little tired right now. Actually, Dorsey thought he was going out to get a break and realized he's going to have to stay on the floor. He is really tired. What happens to tired big guys? Commit the cheap foul. He's got to be careful here.
Douglas Roberts has scored the last 7 Memphis points. And again, they call that last jumper a 2, not a 3. So the game's tied at 28.
Aldridge a much better job jumping out.
Anderson, he's already hit 1, not this time. That's Dorsey tapping it last. And we have the under 4 break. 28-28, 3:50 to go first half. With Memphis and its 38th win on Saturday, Billy, we talked about that being a record. They have also matched the record of 104 wins over a 3-year span. Last set by a Kentucky team when it won its 104th here in the Alamo Dome in the championship 10 years ago tonight.
That's right, and that record was held by 2 coaches guiding Kentucky, Rick Pitino and Tubby Smith. So John Calipari happens to be the one, if he can go ahead and win another game, to do it all by himself.
We got Collins and Robinson on the floor at the same time. Chalmers down.
Robinson should have got that ball to Aldridge, particularly with Taggart being in his foul trouble.
Collins off balance, banks it up. Jackson chases it down.
Hey, Jackson's
What
got a lot of hard-nosed rebounds.
Rush.
Here he goes again.
And it's Rose underneath. Oh, he lost the handle.
That's all right, he can pick it up.
He was a little skittish about it.
No, but that's all right. A loose ball, he can pick it up. He can't advance it, but he can pick it up.
He wasn't sure himself at first.
Well, you need to know the rules.
You see him hesitate.
Yeah. Big screen there. Good help by Aldridge.
Douglas Roberts again. Long rebound out to Collins. Rush. That's Roberts. And the shot, will it count?
Jim, what I said, a big man that gets tired tends to reach or not move his feet, and that's what happened.
For Dorsey, that's his second. So you've got Dorsey, Dozier, and Taggart all with 2.
I think John Calipari's got to yank him right here. You don't want Dorsey to pick the third with 2:31 to go. You got to take him out.
He's going to bring in Dozier. Again, he'll have to contend with his own 2-foul issue. Dozier will be coming in here in a second along with Kahn. Kansas ready to check in.
But, Jim, if you look at this game, I think Dorsey is more important than Dozier because Dorsey's got the power, and you're going to need that against the likes of Arthur and Jackson and Kahn.
Where is Derrick Rose? He has not taken a shot in the last 7 minutes. He's only 1 out of 4 from the floor tonight.
And Jim, it's not only the shots, he's not keeping the ball in his hands as he had in previous NCAA tournament games, making him tough to guard. Here he comes.
He's shut down, and he has his pass stolen by Chalmers, a third steal tonight.
Chalmers really can feel the game defensively, gets in the passing lanes.
2 minutes to go in the half. Kansas working on a 3-point lead.
Great crossover.
Got past Anderson, spins off the rim. Kondo kicks it back out. Collins. Big rebound by Kahn.
Well, you're getting fresher big men by Kansas. Bill Self doing a great job with his big men rotation.
Chalmers, no. Arthur chases. Last touch by Memphis.
The big men of Kansas are beating Memphis to the ball consistently now.
Kansas out-rebounding the Tigers by 8.
Well, they're shooting 60% from the floor, but what's keeping this game close? They have 8 turnovers. Their big men are much fresher.
It's Rose almost with the steal. Kick it down low on the blocks. Soft hook, soft off the front of the rim. Arthur.
A late double down for the backcourt players from Memphis.
And the Kansas fans rise to their feet. Rock Chalk Jayhawk for screaming their battle cry. Taggart lost the handle, and the Jayhawks come out with it.
He was not ready for the delivery. It was an excellent pass.
Chalmers, floater in the lane. Dozier going to be on Arthur, who said, hey, I was just standing there. But he's going to be whistled for it. Arthur, that will be his second.
But again, Jim, look what happens. Arthur sits down, but in comes a fresh Jackson. The rotation of the big men from Kansas, excellent in this first half.
Timeout, Memphis. Arthur comes out. He has 10 on the night. Kansas has a 5-point lead. Minute to go in first half. Derrick Rose, a decorated freshman, has not scored in almost 16 minutes. You remember he had a stomach ailment yesterday. He did practice last night. They told us that he's just fine today, but only 1 out of 4 from the field.
Jim, he's made himself too easy to guard. He's not kept the ball in his hands. He had 27 against Michigan State, 21 against Texas, 25 the other night against UCLA. He became much more difficult to guard because he didn't come down the court and just give it up.
I think Collins is in his head a little bit. Collins has come in and locked him down. The only basket he made was off of Robinson. They got 15 on the shot clock.
Kind of surprised here that they've taken this kind of time off the clock because they're going to have to give it back to Kansas anyway.
Rose stuck this time, and the ball right back to him. Taggart was open.
Down to 4.
Still didn't get the shot, so Anderson has to take it. And again, Memphis able to get the loose ball. Now they can have the last shot.
That was a huge rebound by Taggart.
Can they get a basket before the half? They have not made a shot from the floor in over 4 minutes.
Jim, I think the key for Memphis with Rose is not to set screens for him. Spread it out a little bit more so he has more room to operate. Every time there's a screen, Kansas coming up with a nice hedge move, just as they did there.
Here it is over to Dozier with 2 seconds. Now Anderson. And 0.1 seconds. That's all that's left. It's got to be a tap play.
Jim, that's what I was talking about. Instead of setting the screen for him, keep things wide open. He doesn't need a screen to penetrate.
No time to catch and shoot.
Now this will be a tap up high. Maybe a little back screen. A nice move by Bill Self here to put Aldridge in here, making sure he's got more size on the floor and doesn't have a foul problem. Look what Aldridge is going to do. Guard the inbounds passer to make that lob more difficult. Nice, subtle, good move here by the coach. Look at how Aldridge is up in the air.
That cannot possibly count. They wave it off anyway. Would not have counted.
Yep, he can't catch and shoot.
Tied at 28 with 4:50 to go in the half. Kansas scores the last 5, and Memphis has matched its largest halftime deficit of the season. Greg and company coming up after the break. Darrell Arthur leading the way for Kansas with 10 points, but Chalmers with 7 points and 3 steals, and Memphis with 5 straight empty trips to close out that first half.
And Jim, we talked about the versatility and depth of this Kansas team. 7 different players have led them in scoring in a game. 7 different players that led them in rebounding in a game. What they have right now is an 8-0 lead with bench scoring. A big, big advantage for Kansas.
It's the first time Memphis has trailed in the second half of the NCAA tournament.
And the 2 championships that Kansas has won, in '52 they had a big lead over St. John's, and remember it was 50-50 in that Kansas-Oklahoma special game that Danny Manning pulled off.
Never forget it, 20 years ago tonight. Rose gives it up to Dozier and the dunk.
And there it was, Rose making his move without a solid screen. Nice job by Anderson.
Forcing the turnover right off the leg of Chalmers. Memphis, with that field goal, breaks a 5-minute and 21-second drought back to the first half.
Jackson wasn't thinking. Chalmers didn't come back hard to the ball. Nice job by Anderson.
That 50-50 halftime in '88, Billy, was the 50th Final Four on top of it.
That's right. And you know what I said? There's no way Kansas can win a game against Oklahoma playing at that pace. They came out that second half and continued right on going.
83-79. They got Danny Manning, of course, on the bench here tonight. Ball gets away. Nice touch by Kansas on the backcourt, but only 12 on the shot clock.
All in the hands of the right guy.
There he is, over to Dozier. 5 now on the clock. Anderson on the wing. And what a start to the half for Memphis. They tie the game with the first 5 of the half.
You know, Jim, he's like the quiet assassin. You know, everybody else gets all the credit, but he comes up with big steals, big defensive plays, as we saw against Texas. And against Michigan State, where he just was the shutdown man.
So really the first time down the floor for the Jayhawks after 5 points by the Tigers unanswered. This is Chalmers, and he's hacked in the paint by Anderson. You're going to say he was in the act of shooting, too. Tomorrow on CBS, NCIS is new again. Mark Harmon is back, and it's tomorrow at 8, 7 Central on CBS. Chalmers to the line. He had a 30-point outburst in the Big 12 title game victory over Texas. Anderson now has 2 on the Memphis side, so there are a number of Memphis Tigers with 2 fouls. Dozier, Dorsey, Anderson, and Taggart. Hits them both.
Young man from Alaska. Remember Trajan Langdon, the great Alaskan player that went to Duke. So kind of interesting to see 2 guys that get an opportunity to Final Four play out of Alaska.
That's Anderson, and going to the line for the lead.
Good cut by Anderson. Good feed on the inside. Conference USA all defensive player, but Jim, solid in every respect. His biggest game in his career, scoring-wise, he was 11 for 13 as a freshman, 32 against Cincinnati. But think about him as an overall player. 105 assists, 59 turnovers as a freshman. Comes right back as a sophomore. 130 assists and 50 turnovers. You'd never think of him as being that kind of a 2-to-1 assist ratio ball handler.
Biggest thing he ever did, though, was hit 2 free throws here at the Alamo Dome last year with 3 seconds to go in the Sweet 16 to beat Texas A&M by 1. He hits the free throw there for the 3-point play and a 1-point Memphis advantage. Their first lead since 26-24.
Kansas not going back inside. It was what really started them in good shape in this ball game. There it is.
Down low. And Arthur. He went to the other side to create some space.
I was wondering if John Calipari would start with a little zone here in the second half just to see how Kansas would adjust. He decided to stay with the man-to-man. His team is playing extremely well in it.
Another inside basket by Kansas. The Jayhawks have hit only 1 3 in the game. That by Chalmers.
Beautiful step out.
Dozier passes up the 3. That shot blocked.
That was rushed. They got a piece of it.
Back out Anderson. Douglas Roberts.
This is that penetrating kick offense. Terrific defense by Rush.
Good box out by Jackson that kept Dorsey away.
Rush is staying right with Roberts.
Chalmers takes the shot, drives. No foul call.
Got some numbers here.
Anderson takes middle. Dishes Douglas Roberts. Dozier. Dozier a second time. No whistle. And Jackson wrestles for it. Here comes Kansas with the numbers. Chalmers with the 3 on the wing. That's wide and long.
And coming right back the other way.
Anderson looking back for Rose, who wants it with a burst. And a lob. And the lead.
And you know know what? Dorsey took the ball out of the basket there and held it. Gave a chance for all of his teammates to get back on defense. Not supposed to do that, but he got away with it. And he's smiling right now.
Very mischievous grin on his face. His rush is fouled on the outside. No basket.
Boy, this was just great action. Beautiful lob that time without drawing the charge. See, Dorsey, he catches the ball, walks with it up court a little bit, and gives his team a chance to go back court on defense. That was some sequence. A lot of energy expended, Jim, on those 3 up and downs on the court.
Douglas Roberts whistled for his first. And not a shooting situation. Again, that was not a made basket. It was outside, so they inbound it back out to Rush. Back and forth we go in this half. Kansas coming back, and Kahn on the collision with it. Believe it's what, Dorsey?
Yeah, a little pick and roll. Kahn doing a nice job aggressively getting himself in position to get that pass.
Number 3 on Joey Dorsey. And he says, bring on Taggart.
Yeah, and you know what? I think John Calipari has got to go some zone here. He's got to protect a lot of time here. 16:07, and he's going to give Dorsey some heat over there. He just likes to holler at the big guy, but you can't fault him for his effort right here.
Again, the foul was before the shot. Robinson got some freedom, and he makes the basket to put Kansas up 39-38. First 2 of the game.
Surprised Dorsey with that pullback layup. Surprise Anderson, rather. He's asking for a screen.
It's Taggart. Rose with 3 on the shot clock. Tough shot. And it's off the rim. Still looking for his first points and almost a half of action. And taken away. Douglas Roberts. Reach in. That was the quick hands of Robinson. It's going to stay with Memphis. But it saved the breakaway.
Isn't it amazing how Robinson and Chalmers can get down so low to make those steals?
Kansas in a wild start to the second half. And the Memphis fan section with the city legend Penny Hardaway. He's been here all weekend cheering on his school.
Yeah, he said if I had some teammates like this, I'd have been in some Final Fours.
That's Robinson tapping it in the air, and will stay with the Tigers.
Rose taking him down inside, but I still think if you're John Calipari, you've got to get Rose the ball at the top of the key, get him more involved in the offense without the screens, because he's being double teamed by good big men every time there's a solid screen coming. Here's the screen. Watch the hedge. Now he's double teamed. Takes the ball out of his hands.
Kansas adjusting magnificently. 5 seconds to go. Shot clock. Rose. And Douglas Roberts to Dozier. 1 second.
Beautiful move.
In time, but no, it's long. And Kahn coming in with some aggression for the rebound.
Bill Self going with the experienced man tonight, and Kahn delivering as he has throughout this tournament.
With the tough pass. Taken away. Here comes Rose. Will he score at long last? No, it rattles out.
Kahn got a piece of that.
Rush tips it over to Robinson. Bounce pass ahead. Collins had it on his hip. No call. Rush has to adjust, and Kansas will settle in with a set play.
Jim, there should have been walking on that play. Collins had that ball, carried it on his hip with a step.
Now Arthur. Back out Collins. Kahn is open. Dozier was on the deck for a second. The hook. Too strong. Arthur, second tip. No! They missed 3 close-range shots.
Well, Anderson tried to take it all the way. Good job.
That'll be a foul call against Collins. Thursday on CBS, don't miss a riveting new episode of TV's most watched drama, CSI. It's Thursday at 9, 8 Central on CBS.
Jim, so much has been written about this Vance Wahlberg created offense that John Calipari used. Wahlberg developed it when he had, remember Chris Hernandez that played at Stanford when he was in high school? The offense was developed around him with a good penetrating ability and then kicking out. And that really helped Anderson on that play because he knew how to drive between 2 people on the move.
Chalmers back, Jackson back. That foul was on Collins, who's still on the floor with 2 fouls, that's all. One more for Anderson, this one to tie the game. Long. And it rattles out, tipped over to Jackson. Taggart had a play on that, but was unable to collect it. So 0 for 2 that time.
Those shots did not go up there very soft.
Collins. Jackson baseliner. Gets the roll off the rim. And off the glass. He had a big second half against North Carolina. Had 10 of his 12 against the Tar Heels after the intermission.
Jim, we talk about lead changes. In that North Carolina game, there were 0 lead changes.
And Kansas never trailed. And Douglas Roberts working on Rush.
Nice body movement there. He knocked Rush out of the way.
Enough to get the space for the open shot. Over the top they go. Jackson again gets the roll off the rim.
What the Kansas big men have been taught so well to do is to hold their position so there is space between themselves and the basket on those lobs.
It's something, isn't it? You had it with the shot chart. All of these baskets by Kansas, close range.
That's why I'm wondering why John Calipari isn't showing a little zone just to see what Kansas would do from the outside.
Douglas Roberts back out to Rose with 10. Rose with 3 points on the night. 1 for 6 from the floor. Anderson.
Rose is a great player, but he's got to learn that he's being too easy to guard tonight by giving up the ball when there's no pressure on him.
Collins driving on him. Puts up the wild shot, and it's Memphis clearing.
Good crossover dribble.
Takes off this time, and he's in the books with a basket.
Jim,
for the first time since 16 and a half minutes left in the first half.
He has to learn to be tough to guard, keep the ball in his hands. Some nights you can be too unselfish.
Double team on Collins. Tough pass, Kahn can't get it. Memphis with big numbers. Douglas Roberts. And from behind, it's Chalmers who saves the 3-on-1.
Not only should have been called for a foul there. Got by with it.
It'll be Memphis ball out of the break. And again, it's only a 1-point game and a tight one in Texas. Jim Nance with Billy Packer, and what's the story of the game to this point, Billy?
Well, this inside dominance by Kansas, not only scoring but rebounding. The only game Memphis lost all year long. They were out-rebounded in the same kind of a flow of game by Tennessee, 50-34. Now, on the other side, the games, and I pointed this out early, that Kansas has played poorly in and lost, are games they don't shoot well from the three-point line. They are 1 for 7 tonight. So we've got a tight game because both teams, when they have had problems, are having problems in those areas.
The entire second half has been played within a 6-point range. Kansas leading by as much as 5. Memphis with a couple of brief 1-point leads, trying to go back in front on this possession. And that ball off the foot of Douglas Roberts. He tried to save it. It'll go to Kansas.
Well, I'm going to start giving some credit to the Kansas defenders. They have taken away Rose's ability to take that ball and penetrate down the center where he is so successful. I said he's been too easy to guard, but maybe it's because the guys are just too good on defense.
Rush has not taken a shot in this half, and he's not on the floor right now.
I'm going to give some credit to Chris Douglas Roberts on that one, Jim. He's really been a shutdown man.
Chalmers backs off the defender and hits the jumper.
Well, we've seen it on both ends of the court, creating a little space by a little push-off.
11 for Chalmers.
Not much movement by Memphis right now, and John Calipari says, are they playing us a zone?
Trying to read it out high was Rose. Robinson defending. They triple team him. Douglas Roberts gave it up quickly. Back to Rose baseline, and he's got another basket.
There's that power move inside. Maybe giving Kansas a little bit too much respect.
Now it's Robinson. Jackson. Dorsey tried to draw the charge.
Oh, that could have been a big one. Dorsey just has to play with his feet now. He can't be reaching.
Collins, nifty dribbling. Kahn. He's coming back out with it with under 10 on the shot clock. Now Collins has to put up the 3. It's a long one. And Dorsey plucks it almost off the rim.
And Jim, give Anderson some credit, getting a hand up in the face to alter that jump shot.
Kansas now 1 of 8 from behind the arc. Kansas will be bringing back Rush and Arthur on the next whistle. Calipari barking out signals, a man who took this program in year 8 at Memphis to the Final Four like he did at UMass in year 8. And a whistle outside. Kansas wanted a travel call, but it's going to be a foul on the Jayhawks instead. And here are the Kansas players inside.
Well, blocking the ball to the defensive end and then feeding extremely well and scoring in the paint. They have controlled the paint offensively.
Kahn picks up the foul as you see Arthur back in. Arthur with a big night tonight. At 12 points. Oh, and another Chalmers steal.
So quick with the hands.
Now 4 for the game. Rush dribbles past Dorsey and banks it home.
Dorsey had no chance there. He should have backed up and just let him take that jump shot.
Rush's first points of the half.
Good recognition by Rush. Now let's take a look at this. It looks like they're playing the zone. You don't see many cutters. They are playing the zone. First time tonight. Maybe even a box-on-1 on Chris Douglas-Roberts. He's over in the corner, but he's not moving, so you can't tell. That's what it is, a box-and-1.
As we move under 9 minutes on the night, we try to identify the nation's best. Dozier, whistle, basket counts, and he can tie it at the line.
That was Chalmers playing box-and-1 on Chris Douglas-Roberts, and Memphis did a terrific job recognizing what the defense was. There's the zone, 4 men in a box. Rose does a great job finding the opening.
And a second foul on Kahn. On a night when we showed you statistically how these two teams match up so evenly, just fractions apart, two coaches who really got their starts as volunteer assistants at Lawrence, Kansas. Both men had, in fact, met their wives in, of all places, Lawrence, Kansas. And so many similarities right down the line. With their teams, with their families, with their careers.
And both owe a lot to Larry Brown in Lawrence, Kansas.
Left-handed hook, no, for Kahn. Both in their first championship game appearance.
All right, let's see the defense right now. It's a box-and-1, trying to take Chris Douglas-Roberts' offense away. Chalmers is on him.
Rose, 3. He's warming up. Look out.
Well, what is so great about that in the last 2 possessions, John Calipari's team did a great job recognizing the defense that was being played and took advantage.
Now with 7.5, 10 on the night, and Memphis with the lead.
Jim, Chris Douglas-Roberts over here in the corner. Now look at the Kansas players. They're playing in a box here defensively, so they're trying to take him out of the ball game. But what happened, Memphis realized what the defense was and did a terrific job playing and getting the ball in the middle, not worrying about it. Jump shots available, hit down inside. 2 really good possessions against that box-and-1.
After the Kansas timeout, we've had 8 changes of the lead tonight, 5 in this half alone. And Memphis with the lead after the Rose 3.
Again, Kansas has had problems from the 3-point line tonight. Tremendous inside, nothing outside. Steps or push.
No, it's going to be a trip on Douglas-Roberts. And that's the under 8 timeout. It's the second on CDR. Kansas will inbound after the break. Is this going to be a big week for the Tigers? Memphis and Woods? Well, this young man, Derrick Rose, talking to John Calipari. He's starting to warm up in this second half. Coach Cal had read an article recently on Tiger about his God-given talents, his mental toughness, how he wants to be in that last group the last day with the last putt to win. And he handed it over to Derrick Rose and said, "This is my vision of you. You could be the Tiger of basketball." And he's starting now to warm up here as Memphis has come back in this half to lead by a couple. Kansas had a tough time getting the ball inbounds.
And Jim, you notice why he's loosening up is they're not setting screens for him anymore. They're letting him just drive on his own. Nice steal.
That was Anderson reaching in. Kansas almost able to get it right back. But again, it's Rose. Pull-up shot, and he's good again.
Again, he's keeping the ball in his hands now, becoming difficult to guard.
That's Rose. for a dozen tonight. 12 and 9 in this half.
And what that will do is take him out of the box and 1 as well. Maybe they'll go back to what Southern Cal did and play a triangle and 2 and try to stop Chris Douglas Roberts and Rose. Pretty effective for Tim Floyd's club earlier in this year.
Joey Dorsey is coming back in. He's raising his arms, looking over at the Memphis fan base, saying, keep it going. You can relive the entire tournament with NCAA March Madness on demand. Watch game highlights, buzzer beaters, or replay any game in its entirety, all free at the new NCAA.com. Memphis is on a 7-0 run right now with 7 minutes to play. Collins, Kansas needs it from the outside. Can't get it. Tipped out by Arthur.
Jim, what I said earlier, in their 3 losses, Kansas 12 for 45 from 3, that's 26%. In their wins against those same teams, 26 for 48, making 54%. Tonight, they have not been able to do anything. They are 1 for 9 from 3.
They take Collins out, Robinson in. Robinson draws the assignment again on Rose.
And they're back to a straight man-to-man now.
Tigers getting more confident by the minute, particularly this young man who throws it back out to Douglas Roberts. Only to take Robinson.
See, no screens. He's so much more effective when there are no screens.
Tipped over to Robinson. Kansas now has gone cold at this end of the floor. They need to snap out of it. Rush with 1 basket and a half.
He would normally be the man who gets some shots, but Chris Douglas Roberts is right in his face.
Reach in on Douglas Roberts. That's his 3rd.
He was mad at himself there. He was playing good defense and didn't need the reach.
Kansas has gone scoreless here the last 3 minutes. And Willie Kemp is going to come in. This Douglas Roberts with the 3. They'll sit him down.
Jim, I think this is a minute and a half is all we're going to see him sitting on that bench.
That puts Anderson now shifting over to rush.
Well, that's not much of a drop-off defensively because Anderson's got good size.
And Kemp comes right in. Pulls off the lob. Here it is, Dozier, too high. And last touch by Memphis.
You know what was the problem with the lob there? He didn't have a good angle. This is a tough ball to catch when you don't have an angle of 45 degrees to come in on that from the wing. Tough one to catch and put away.
6 minutes to go. The Jayhawks must come back. They've had no answers at this end now for almost 4 minutes. There's Chalmers missing the short shot. Tipped over to Memphis.
They're making pick up his dribble. Nice, smart play by Rose. You know what? There was nothing there. He's got a little bit of a working margin. Why make a bad play?
There's a mismatch, Kemp and Arthur. And shift back into their matchups with Arthur on Dozier.
A little sloppy here.
Now Kemp took it away from Rose for a second. Now Rose with 5 on the shot clock. He's got Jackson on him. He's going to step back, take the 3. Chasing it down, it's Dozier. They get a new 35. Rose in the lane, and yes!
How often do we see that young man use his upper body to shield the defender and then clear a space for his own shot? Not many guards can do that.
Timeout, Kansas. Behind Derrick Rose. Memphis has rallied. There's your reset. And the arrow belongs to Kansas. Rose is going to the line. He's got 14-11 in this half.
Jim, look at how he uses that body basically to take on the defensive push against him and then clears space for his own shot.
All in the last 7 minutes.
And Rose and Douglas Roberts against UCLA, 11 for 12 from the foul line and 9 for 11 from the foul line.
Those two shot all of their free throws in the game on Saturday. Just the 2 players, 20 out of 23 combined.
Collins now telling people to get away. Let's see if he puts the ball on the floor.
Biggest lead of the game for either side. Collins, he wanted a foul, and he was able to squeeze the shot between 2 players.
He's a tough man to guard with all his strength. Doesn't have the size of Rose, but has the power.
Bangs his fist against his own chest and hollers at his teammates, let's go.
He said Chris Douglas Roberts would be out for a minute and 30 seconds. Here he's right back in here.
John Calipari telling his team, imploring his team to have more fun than any other squad in this tournament. I want people to watch across the country and say they're having fun like no one else. It's your time, he told them. We see if the last 420 will prove it's their time. Tapped out by Arthur.
Well, you remember the last time they played the championship game, somebody's time was called Bill Walton with a 21 out of 22 games. So
that was 35 years ago,
right.
1973. Memphis with Larry Finch going to the finals. We got 3 on the shot clock. Rose.
Got to get the shot up quick.
Over Jackson. Banks it home. There is the shot of the tournament.
I don't know if he called bank on that one because Jackson's hand was right in his face. He had to alter the shot.
Puts him up 8. That's a wrenching moment for Kansas.
Kansas still trying to go inside. They got to be thinking about how to get some three-point shots.
On the baseline. First, the foul outside. 13-2 stretch here for the Tigers. What can you say? Absolutely brilliant. The shot by Rose is being reviewed, which is allowable in college basketball. It looks now like it's a 2. Look at his left foot.
Yeah, Jim, I think it's definitely a 2. As he creates his leap, he is inside the three-point line. I realize as he ends up on the other side, it's got to be a 2-point shot, not a 3.
Well, they first reviewed it, called it a 3, and then they re-huddled. Ed Corbett called the other 2 officials over, Hightower and Cal, and they changed it after reviewing it again throughout that break, and it's ruled only a 2. They've knocked a point off the board. 7-point Memphis lead.
That's the correct call. Jim, we talked about all year long the year of the freshmen. Of course, we've had freshmen of impact in the Final Four. Arnie Farron, 1944.
Outstanding player.
Okay.
Just went into the College Basketball Hall of Fame with you this week. Congratulations.
Purvis Ellison. How about that one? And then Carmelo Anthony. So there have been 3 freshmen that have been the MOP of this tournament. We've got number 23 out there making a pretty good case.
Real good case. He has scored Memphis's last 10 points. Rush. Missed the easy one.
I really like what John Calipari did defensively there. He's packing it back in and saying, hey, look, this team has not done anything from the three-point line. Let's not give them anything inside. John Calipari, who took Massachusetts to the Final Four and a #1 ranking there and has taken Memphis to a #1 ranking in the Final Four. The only man ever to take non-BCS conference schools, 2 of them, to the Final Four.
Pretty good stuff. That was the 4th on Dorsey, Billy, and you saw him go to the bench. Arthur.
Yeah, but he's going to the bench. He got 3:36 to go. So basically, unless this game can get to be an overtime, that shouldn't be a factor.
Two for 2, Darrell Arthur. 5-point game.
Oh, and look at what Kansas does. Kansas, in effect, they go into a 1-2-2 zone, and they put Rush out on the top to take away what Rose has been doing to him. This is a nice move here by Bill Self. Feels he has enough time. He doesn't have to steal the ball. Rush is a big man out there at the top of that 1-2-2 zone.
Douglas Roberts appealing that he was pushed to the floor. 7 seconds on the shot clock as Memphis adjusts to the new defense. Rose, can he do it again? Can he? Bouncing out, but Dozier goes flying in. Tough pass saved by Rose.
Oh, and Rush was right there defensively, did a good job. So Bill Self's defense is what he wanted, but they didn't block out inside. Tougher to rebound defensively in the zone.
Boy, we had the angle on Rose's shot. It looked like right on line.
Yep.
9 rebounds for Dozier. They work it in the paint. Whip it around Taggart. Banks it home.
Taggart has been making big shots throughout this tournament as a sub.
Blocked at the other end by Dozier.
Now you've got to start thinking about fouling some. See if this Memphis team, who all year long has had problems on the line, can make them in the clutch.
First, Chalmers almost comes away with it. That basket by Taggart, the last time down the floor. This will be a foul on Robinson. That basket by Taggart, the first bench points of the night by the Tigers.
And you can see what Bill Self is going to do now. We're going to have the fouling and see if they can make them in the clutch.
It's going to be a 1-and-1 coming up, with only 2:13 remaining.
And Jim, there is a difference between shooting free throws when you are under 60 and then go to over 70. They have not had to make free throws in tough situations in this great run they've had of shooting over 70%.
Actually, that was only the 16th foul in Kansas,
more.
so we're still one away. That last foul went against Collins,
And they're
number 3 on him.
They're trying to give it a foul right away.
They do. That's Rush reaching in and grabbing a hold of Dozier. Sending Dozier to the line for the 1-and-1. The junior from Lithonia, Georgia, who made it to Memphis by way of Laurinburg Prep out in North Carolina, which has, through the years, it produced many of the great players, starting with Charlie Scott for North Carolina. Dorsey's back in. Dorsey, another Laurinburg product.
Yep. I think John has had 7 kids from Laurinburg in his program at one point.
Well, there's the first pressure free throw on the front end of the 1-and-1.
Dozier's 67% on the year. And you know, another thing didn't hurt him with Dorsey on the bench. Dorsey was the poorest free throw shooter they've got. He's back out there now with 2:12 to go. They may be going to use him on defense and get him out on offense.
Bangs them both. 9-point bulge now. It's a 16-4 stretch here for the Tigers.
3-point shots have got to be in order for Kansas.
They were 5 down at halftime. 14-point swing. Chalmers had to give it up. Arthur way outside. Hits a sweet shot for a 2.
But Jim, that's the worst shot you can take in basketball at this time. 1 foot farther out, you've got a 3.
They get an outside shot that comes from one of their biggest players.
Right.
Coming out of a Kansas timeout, Billy, give us some strategy.
I think we're going to see 2 things by Kansas. Number 1, they're going to foul to put Memphis on that line, and I think they're going to have to figure out how to get some 3-point shots off a little bit quicker. They have had problem from 3 all night long, but they've got to now set screens to get 3-point shots.
And of course, with that being part of the mission, they take Dorsey out, does John Calipari, with the poor free throw shooting.
Well, what
he's exhibited.
Yeah, what John's going to do is he's going to substitute offense for defense. You're looking out here, you probably want to put Taggart on the line.
Collins with the steal. He got it over to Chalmers. Back out. Big 3. Collins hits the shot. We're down to 4.
That was the play they needed.
Makes the steal, hits the 3.
Full court pressure here, Jim, and there's a quick foul, but what Memphis might be thinking about is going long against this pressure. 5 Kansas players inside the top of the key. Now we're going to find out.
It's going to be Anderson at the line. No, it's Douglas Roberts.
Can you make them under pressure? Jimmy, you'll be going to the Masters. You've seen this all your life. Guys can make putts all day long. Now you get on the 18th hole and you got to make one. Can you get it to drop?
The guys that wanted it at that moment. And you got to think this is one of them, though.
Absolutely.
Douglas Roberts with a 1-and-1. His team 7 of 10 tonight. And coolly knocks it down. One more.
Now the key thing here is to make sure, as a shooter, you don't back off the line. He had a little lean in him there, but he still willed it in.
Calipari calling this the dream team.
Even if he makes it, it's just a 2-possession game still, but I think they need to be looking 3. 2-possession game if they can get 3s.
Will the dream come true, or will Kansas come back? 1:30 to go.
Taking a lot of time to get this shot up.
Chalmers trying to step back, trying to find some open space for a 3. It's not there. That's going to be Dorsey's 5th.
Oh, not a good foul, but Dorsey got caught on the switch. He was out of position. John Calipari holding his head in his hands.
So that's it for Dorsey. The senior walks off the floor for the last time as a Tiger.
Winningest player in Tiger history right there.
Yeah, 125 wins, 126 wins in his career.
Well, we talked about him the other day, showing great leadership, enjoying a game in which he did not score a point. but had 15 critical rebounds and did a terrific job on Love on the inside, holding that outstanding freshman down.
Calipari taking his time, making the change, and it'll be a 1-and-1 for Kansas coming out of it.
Well, if you are Memphis, you do not want to foul, Jim. You don't want points going up on this scoreboard and have that clock stopped at the same time. So, a big mistake on Dorsey's part.
It's Dorsey's mother, Sandra.
How about the sign they put up for him after they beat Georgetown? He got home, and there it was, a Georgetown team back in his home area. Very proud of that victory.
Kansas has made 8 out of 9 at the line tonight. The last 8 have been good. 1-and-1, Chalmers.
And they will be pressing full court. Let's see if John Calipari takes the chance and throwing long here, because there will be a man wide open if he does.
Back to 4, 62-58, Memphis. Double team on Rose. Anderson gets rid of it in a hurry. Douglas Roberts, he wants to get to that free throw line.
You better be careful out there. You've got Chalmers and Robinson, two great stealers of the ball, double teaming him.
Chalmers makes an appeal. He thought he made a clean play. And that is on Chalmers, his 3rd. Memphis has hit its last 5 at the line as Darnell Jackson runs out onto the floor for Bill Self's squad.
Well, if you want anybody on the line, you want the Conference Player of the Year, first team All-American player, first team All-Tournament player, All-South Regional. This young man has had a great, great season.
83% in the tournament at the line, and he shot 60 free throws. 1-and-1. Not this time.
Dropped his hand down. Did not stay with that shot. Don't need a 3 here.
They're going down low. Arthur puts up the shot, banks it in, inadvertently rolls around the rim off the glass, down to 2.
And Rose tells everybody get out of the way. He wants the ball in his hands.
Rose is a player who's made his last 13 free throws here at the Final Four.
But Jim, they will have to give up the ball here. They can't hold it.
Kansas on a 9-2 stretch. Almost. Chalmers. Anderson calls timeout with 44 seconds to go. What a championship night. What a game it's been.
And Jim, Calipari said to Rose, don't give up the ball.
44 seconds to go here in San Antonio. Kansas with 1 timeout. Memphis just using 1, still has 3. Arrow, and belongs to Kansas. There is Ellen Calipari. She worked in the business office in the athletic department at Kansas when John Calipari went from a volunteer assistant to a full-time assistant. He met her there in Lawrence. And there is Cindy Self. She was a cheerleader at Oklahoma State. Her husband was a 4-year letterman, and they won at Allen Fieldhouse his senior year, and the whole contingent went out, and he met her for the first time, oddly enough, there on that road trip as the Cowboys celebrated in Lawrence.
Don't need to foul now, Jim. We've got an opportunity to play just solid defense. 16 left on the shot clock.
And Rose wants the ball in his hands like you called for.
Yeah, what they did, they went to a 1-4 offense, just let him keep the ball.
Ball squirts out, last touch by Kansas. 7 on the shot clock.
Rose won the foul, didn't get it, but you better believe they're going to put it back in his hands. Not a bad idea if you're Kansas now to double team Rose so he can't get the touch on the inbounds pass. Collins is defending Rose. Driving, it's Douglas Roberts' shot. Great job by Rush. Here comes Collins in Kansas. The 2 will tie it. No whistle at the other end. Memphis with the numbers up ahead. Douglas Roberts will take it to the hole and he'll go to the line. Jim, in that particular case, unless you have the layup uncontested, keep the ball in your hands and let the clock go by. What about at the other end with Collins driving? Well, a lot of activity here. Anderson was that long reach of his, able to hang in there. You know, you think of Kansas with their national championships, 2 losses in the 50s, one to Indiana 69-68, and one to the triple overtime to North Carolina 54-53. 2 shots here, and that one's woefully off the line. But do you see how he pulled back, Jim? He's missed his last 2. He is not staying with the shot. As I said, there's a lot of difference making them when you're up by 20. Keeps it a 1-possession game. How big is that point that was reviewed and taken away? Off the Rose shot again, really missing by a wide margin, but it's Dozier keeping it for the Tigers. Now they can hold it all the way here. And a foul first.
It'll send Rose to the line. They're in the double bonus. He'll have 2 shots.
Whoa, wait a second here. Douglas Roberts banged the ball on the floor and bounced it up. The referee's doing a great job here not calling that a technical.
Well, they could have.
They could have, but they didn't, and that was great judgment by the officials. He was mad at himself, not at a call.
Rush committed the foul.
Watch this right here. He is mad at himself for missing those free throws, and that was great judgment.
Eddie Hightower went over, settled them down, but Rose will be coming out of this timeout with 2 shots at the line.
Jim, as something as fundamental as a block out, watch what Dozier does to get this rebound. Goes all the way across the lane. The block out's released. Dozier's long arms gets it and gives Memphis an opportunity.
Now, what will Rose do with the line? Douglas Roberts had been so solid throughout the tournament, but here under pressure, he's missed his last 3. Rose has made his last 13. Going back to Saturday's game at the line.
Jim, we talked about it all the time. They weren't concentrating in regular season. Then they started to concentrate, but they didn't have to concentrate under pressure. This is a big deal right here for this freshman.
Kansas just used its last timeout.
He backed off as well.
Wow.
Look at where his feet are compared to where he released the shot. He's back 1.5 feet.
It's called pressure. He's got 1 more, and Kansas, at the very least, will have a shot to tie it with 10.8 seconds.
Stayed with that one.
Kansas has made only 2 threes on the night. They must make 1 here to extend the game. Collins driving, almost lost the handle. Chalmers for the tie. Got it with 2 seconds. Unbelievable. Dozier at midcourt for the championship. No, we're going to overtime in San Antonio.
Jim, the free throws did it and put Memphis in this kind of a position.
And Calipari will not have Dorsey in the OT. He fouled out.
Oh, and he might, and right now, look at Rose. He's either got a cramp or he hurt his ankle.
What a shot at the top of the key with players draped all over him. Only the 3rd 3 of the night.
And that was all net, Jim, but again, free throw woes, and we said, can you make them under pressure?
Overtime coming up for the national title. Mario Chalmers launches the tying 3 with 2.1 seconds to go after Memphis misses 4 of its last 5 at the line.
Jim, do you like the strategy fouling and making them go to the line instead of the 3? It's the only way they could go to overtime.
It worked.
Yep. And let's see, Rose is walking better. I think that might have been just a cramp. He looks like he's all right out there, but you made a good point. Dorsey not available. Remember that cheap foul he picked up with about 2 minutes to go at the regulation.
Arthur and Dozier for the tip. And overtime is underway.
Now let's see the defensive setup right here. Collins is going to be on Rose.
First overtime in the championship game since Arizona and Kentucky in 1997. Won by the Wildcats and Ludolfs.
Simon Says game.
Simon Says championship. That's what you said. Oh, a steal. It's Collins. Trying to get past Rose. He's looking over to Rush. Rush waits with the body control. Kansas up 2 in OT.
Great job by Rush to fill that lane.
Timeout. Timeout, Memphis. Kansas comes out with the steal and the Rush basket. How about the review? How big it was, Billy? Because this 1 point taken off the board, you don't know how the rest of it would have played out, obviously.
There's the foot inside the line. Now he's going to shoot the jumper, but that foot was part of the release foot. Consequently, he doesn't get credit for a 3. The foot was inside the line on the release.
Actually had been credited with a 3 for a while, but once we had a break in the action, they went over and spent the 2 minutes examining it. At first they did maintain it was a 3. They reconvened, went back, and finally decided it was a 2, and on to overtime in this championship game. Now Dozier spinning, putting it up wildly on the floor. Jackson taps it over to Collins, and Kansas has the momentum.
And without Dorsey in the game to get that tough inside rebound, Kansas has a huge advantage, particularly with Jackson.
pass. Taggart trying to make the theft. No, he's out of bounds.
Kansas knows what it's like to be in a overtime game in a championship. The triple overtimer that they lost to North Carolina.
1957. Remember, they had a shot to try to force overtime down in New Orleans in 2003. And
that's right.
Michael Lee's three-point shot was swatted away by Hakeem Warwick of Syracuse. Orangeman won the title. But this is a 14-3 stretch here by Kansas. They were 9 down with 2 minutes left.
And Jim, the whole thing has to do not only with that shot, but the lack of ability to make and clutch free throws.
Collins had some clutch plays, didn't he? That steal on the 3, that was huge. Laid it on the rim, and Arthur knocking it down. Chalmers to Arthur, and Kansas is up 4.
No Dorsey. Tough job to take up space in the paint.
That basket is still shaking at the other end. Arthur has 20 on the night.
This Douglas Roberts wants it, but he's up against a real good defender.
Douglas Roberts again. Rush with a hand in there. Anderson with a 3. Long. And Jackson. Kansas now has the rhythm.
They have the rhythm, and they have Collins, who's powerful with that ball. I like the way they've been distributing inside, Jim, getting that ball in, staying with their half-court offense. Nice job.
Now can open up a gap at 2:45 to play in overtime.
Chalmers should have been cutting baseline.
Gives it back. Arthur swings it over Jackson, and the big guys do it again inside.
Again, Joey Dorsey comes up off that bench, knows there's nothing he can do for his team.
Another timeout, Memphis. No field goal by Memphis for over 5 minutes. Memphis 60-51 with 2:12 to go in regulation. 18-3 Jayhawks thereafter.
Well, you've got to love what Bill Self did, Jim. He had to go ahead and foul and make threes. That was the strategy. When you foul, the other team still has an opportunity to win that game by executing from the line. Memphis did not do it. That's why they find themselves right now in a very precarious position. But still just a 2-possession game.
Hold, yeah, hold call first.
Puts them back on the line.
That one's on Rush, his 3rd.
Well, he has played some great defense. And you figure all night long he's been on Chris Douglas Roberts, with the exception of the few times that they went to the box and won. And he has really done a nice job holding him down, particularly in the second half.
Well, it was Douglas Roberts who first lost the feel, the confidence at the line, and then we saw the same thing happen to Rose. Douglas Roberts will be 2.
Much better job there. You'd like to have that back in regulation.
Yeah, he's saying, I wish I had done that earlier. Down the floor.
Collins is 76% free throw shooter, so nobody on that floor is going to be handling that ball as a bad free throw shooter.
Chalmers slicing through, back out high Collins. We're at the 2-minute mark in overtime.
Young man who really had to struggle to come back is Collins, but he's playing fresh tonight.
5 on the shot clock, Chalmers. His shot he hit to tie it, not this time. And that's out of bounds. No one touched it off the shot. Back to Memphis.
And if you're Memphis, you don't need to be thinking 3 here. 4-point game, run your offense. Now, Rose shouldn't take up so much time here. He needs to get into action right away.
Rose with the 3. Long. Swatted out to Douglas Roberts. Nice save by Antonio Anderson. They've gone now over 6 minutes without a basket from the floor.
Taking too much time to get organized here.
Douglas Roberts wants it, kicks it. Dozier. Back to Douglas Roberts. He'll step back for the three. And Jackson muscles for the rebound. There's Rush left alone. Dozier defending. Shot short. Rush again. This time lays it in.
Poor defensive balance.
Rush broke early. Back up to 6.
Now you got to go 3.
Minute to go.
Got to go 3.
Douglas Roberts, here's you. Here's the shot. Got it. And it's a 3-point game with 56 seconds. 71-68, one possession game in the first overtime. Chris Douglas Roberts hits the 3. Memphis trims it to 3. Billy, how about the strategy? Kansas about to inbound.
Well, look at what we've got here. We got a differential on the clock, which means Memphis, if they play solid defense, will get the ball back. You do not want to foul here. Just play solid defense. If you're Kansas, I think you still want to go inside with the ball. That's been extremely effective. And they've got on the floor right now, does Kansas, 4 players that all shoot over 74% from the foul line, which is very helpful. Arthur, the only guy shooting under 70% that's on the floor, and he's at 69%.
Douglas Roberts will defend the inbounds pass. Actually going to switch off now. Dozier will come in.
They're not guarding the man taking the ball out of bounds. I thought Dozier was not. Now he's going to pick him up.
Over the top to Robinson. The senior snaps it over to Collins.
So you really have 4 ball handlers on the floor right now. That was a dangerous pass.
Dozier almost got there in time. They skip it back over to Chalmers, and they'll send him to the line.
Wow, I was surprised at that. A solid defensive possession, Jim. You've got 3 that you can come back with a 1-possession game. Why put a 70% free throw shooter on the line?
He'll be shooting a 1-on-1. That's only the 9th team foul. That was on Douglas Roberts, his 4th. So Chalmers, after he hit the 3, the Kansas fans will never forget. And he delivered on the 1-on-1.
I didn't like that strategy.
Chalmers is good again. Kansas has hit its last 11 at the line.
Now you jump to a 2-possession game.
Roderick Stewart. So sad to see him injured. The senior right here on the Final Four floor the day before the semifinal. Now up to 5.
Jim, beautiful stroke on the free throw shot. No pressure whatsoever. Rose has got to bring that and pick that ball up. You can get it.
Well, he waited a while, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
I thought he was threatening a 5 count.
Could have had a 5-second call.
Douglas Roberts short with the lay-in. Ball on the floor. Taggart tries to get it over to Rose. Kansas fighting for it too. And the arrow is going to Kansas.
Now, Taggart was going to try to call timeout and probably should have.
It looked like he was trying to get there, trying to get his hands in the timeout position. Right here.
You're right there. You see, he tried to call a timeout and saw a teammate.
Kansas ball with 30 seconds and a 5-point lead.
And now you've got the foul. Now you got to extend this game as long as possible as a coach. But all the 4 players that are probably going to be touching this ball right now are good free throw shooters.
Collins racing in to come after it. Slips and he's out of bounds. It'll go back to Memphis. He just slipped on the floor.
Came so hard to the ball, Jim, and he is so powerful, but he slipped trying to turn up court. What he's got to realize, just get the ball in bounds.
Jackson back on the floor for Kansas. Taggart returns for Memphis.
Now, if you're Memphis, you don't have to go for a 3. 2 or a 3 will work. How about a back screen for Dozier on some kind of lob? They don't have it.
How about Rose doing something here in overtime?
He's got to go quickly.
Douglas Roberts. Long with the shot. Collins with the board.
Got a foul.
They get Collins after he passed it away.
This will be 2 now, right, Jim?
Yeah, it's double bonus the rest of the way.
Yep. That was a pretty good look that Chris Douglas Roberts had on that jump shot, but they didn't need a 3. Collins, the young man, as I said, injured for 6 games this year, was slow to come back, but he came back at the right time and playing at full strength now. A tough man to guard.
He's going to walk away from the line as the officials go over to a monitor. Rose has been held scoreless in the overtime.
Well, you see, nobody went at him quickly.
Trying to identify the fouler. Looks like Antonio Anderson.
And Jim, there was a situation where 3-4 seconds got by before anybody went over and fouled him. Critical time here. Boy, the Memphis kids with their heads down, realizing they were so close to winning this in regulation.
They adjusted the clock a little bit. Put some time back on there at 18.2. So Collins to shoot 2.
Last time Memphis in a championship game, they had UCLA 39-39 at halftime, and then it got
how about that one? Rattling around, spinning around, and dropping. And now the one that could make it a 3-possession game, and almost impossible if he drops it.
That's just good touch. You stay with it.
Yeah.
How many different objects did that hit before it went down? The old Michael Jordan, Larry Bird commercial.
Guys, their biggest lead of the night. Memphis, desperation time. They were so close to seeing the dream become a reality. Rose with the 3. No. Rebound, Arthur. Kansas can taste it. They come back from 9 down in regulation. A Kansas comeback for the history books. Rock Chalk Championship. Kansas takes the title.
On the anniversary of Danny and the Miracles, huh?
Mario Chalmers has been named the most outstanding player for the shot that will make him a Kansas folk hero for a lifetime.
Well, you've got Clyde Lovellette, B.H. Bourne, Wilt Chamberlain won that award, and Danny Manning, so he becomes the 5th Kansas Jayhawk to be the MOP in the Final Four. Here's Danny Manning coming across the court, clapping his hands right now. He knows what it feels like to lead a team to the national championship.
The 3rd national championship in Kansas history. There he is. A 24-8 stretch after being down by 9 with 2:12 to play. We heard Coach Self say to his team in the locker room before the game, almost every day the rest of your life, you're going to be reminded of this night. And I want to thank all of you in advance for how special this night is going to be. Bill Self and his team never gave up at a time when one could panic. They pulled off one of the great comebacks to take the championship here in San Antonio.